In this video, we're going to talk about Medieval Spawn's army and a cataclysmic threat is unleashed. This is by far one of the best issues of Medieval Spawn we've read so far, so you'll get into it. Alrighty then, this is a comic book review of Medieval Spawn, issue number 3, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. Previously in Medieval Spawn decides only the Warlock Bastion can assist him in locating Abraxas. But before we go there, we gotta get a look at the Order, because in the last issue, the Order left off with this guy named Otto Densper, who convinced his guard and convinced the people that we gotta go find this Medieval Spawn, this Hell Spawn, and take him out. But the Order did not allow just anyone into their ranks. To gain their attention required for considerable effort, and consequently, most members were well into adulthood by the time they joined. And this guy Otto Dempster right over here was a rare exception, having been recruited as a youth after reporting both his parents for worshipping the devil. He wanted nothing more than to be a knight of the Order, but an injury in his late teens ended that dream, forcing him to become a cleric. Alright, so he refused to let that set him back and halt his ambition. And before he took his final breath, he would inflict more damage on this world than an army of 10,000 knights. Ooh, okay, so now we go back to Medieval Spawn and Richard trying to look for this guy Bastion, but this guard dog, if you will, is throwing hands with them. So Medieval Spawn's like, okay, spread out, I'll take the left flank, you take the right. He moves, we move, he's too big. So Medieval Spawn jumps, Richard jumps and puts his sword into his calf, making the monster scream. Medieval Spawn jumps up, and as this monster falls down, just puts his sword in his eye. And that's it, the brother is down for the count. And Richard's like, I thought you said this Bastion guy would help us. Well, yeah, look, I may have been overly hopeful, but hey, what's done is done. But off panel we hear, for God's sake, John of York, do you have any inclination about how difficult it is finding a worthy guard dog these days? Says Medieval Spawn. Then you should be more careful with your pets. Perhaps if you let me know in advance of your visit, I could have made preparations, alright? And Richard's like, okay, this is weird. So now Bastion's like, who is this guy? And Richard's like, yo, it's me, I'm Richard. But Medieval Spawn keeps the conversation going and tells him, I may need your assistance. My, you must be desperate then. Very well, follow me. So on the way in, Richard had asked why Medieval Spawn waited so long to approach Bastion for this time. And it seemed obvious, of course, as a member of the Iron Grove, he was one of the greatest warlocks of the era. But only a fool would trust him. So Bastion's like, look, what can I help you with? So Medieval Spawn tells him, I told him of our journey over the last few months, of Fitzroy, the people that abandoned him, and of our attempted and frustrated attempts to locate the parasite Abraxas. And now we need his help to get this trap and destroy the creature. And Bastion's like, with that grin right there. And if I refuse your request? Medieval Spawn's like, bro, I am not in the mood. Can you do it or not? Oh, don't worry, says Bastion. Few could do it, fortunately. Fortunately for you, I'm one of them. But first, let's discuss my price. Medieval Spawn's like, okay, look, I know it's steep, so what do you need? Nothing now, says Bastion, but someday I'll call on you for a favor. One you will be bound to repay. And you know, the way he says it sounds rather ominously, so Medieval Spawn has no choice but to agree. So Bastion's like, wonderful. Now, is there anything I can use to track this Abraxas? So Medieval Spawn gives him an amulet that he used to enter the world. And Bastion's like, interesting. It appears the creature may be the astral parasite from the 4th realm. Real nasty place. He needs a host to survive in this world, which is probably why you've been having difficult locating him. It will take time. If the spirit is in our world, I will find him. But outside, Otto and the Order are outside the lair of the Warlock. And because they use this navigational device, it's confirmed. And they're just like, yes, this device is so great. I don't know why this is withheld from us. But they all make an attempt and a plan to go down and prepare for the onslaught and prepare for the attack. So meanwhile, Bastion's using his mind and just making sure he can locate the Abraxas with that amulet. So Richard asked Medieval Spawn, what favor do you think Bastion will ask of you? I don't know. Though, knowing Bastion, I fear this debt will be called sooner rather than later. So, how are you feeling, Richard? And Richard's like, fine, I just will be glad when this is all over with. Oh, don't worry, there is no need to be scared. And Richard's like, oh, I'm not afraid of that demon, John. So as this is happening, Bastion's like, prepare yourselves, my spell is almost complete. And Medieval Spawn goes into his monologue. Had it not been for Richard, I often wondered if I would have remained committed to this quest for so long. We had been on the hunt for Abraxas for over 3 months. Privately, I had begun to harbor fears that Pearson and Cuthbert had been right, that we've been chasing a phantom. And this is going back to issue number 1. And this Abraxas has simply been a construction of their broken mind. Now, I wish that had actually been the case as Abraxas takes on this form. Who dares? And even Rich is like, oh man, God could only save us from this right now. But Medieval Spawn has to stand tall against the almighty medieval xenomorph, whatever you want to call this looking creature. Where have you been hiding, demon? And Abraxas responds, in the shadows. Since my journey to this dimension left me so weak, I've been forced to move from host to host until my strength was regained. I started with a dirty little villager, but I've been through quite a lot since then. Human bodies have a frustrating tendency to burn out very quickly. And Medieval Spawn's like, okay, Bastion, proceed. So to destroy Abraxas permanently, they would need to trap him inside a physical host. And Bastion selected a suitable candidate from his collection of pets. Is this all this necessary? Why? Because I broke a few worthless toys. What did you say, says Richard? Richard's getting personal. And this creature leans into him that closely. Hell no, I'm out of there. Who is this ugly little worm, says Abraxas. I am Richard Cook. You destroyed my village. For that, you shall die, demon. Man, go home, child. Shut up before it's too late. And Richard's like, I said I don't have a home anymore, as he draws out his sword. And Medieval Spawn's like, Richard, boy, keep calm. Bastion has almost finished. Get your hands off of me. And Medieval Spawn's like, damn, I've never seen little bro this angry before. Although he hit it well, he was still just a boy. One scared by unspeakable tragedy. This is going back to issue number 1. And Abraxas is like, no, please, give the boy a chance to avenge his family. It's the only fair thing to do. Let me go, John. Let me have at him. And Bastion's like, quiet. This spell requires my full attention. And Medieval Spawn's like, you heard him. And Abraxas is like, look, I'm sorry, worm. I sensed something outside. I fear your family will have to be avenged later, or at least unavenged for right now. So outside, Otto Dempster is opening up this casket and wants to open up the box and remove overstates to let this creature do her attack. But he warns his people, cover your ears, it's about to get real loud. She emerges and before they can cover their ears, she just lets out like a black bolt scream, and all this destruction is happening. And Bastion's like, another monster? Really? So we get a little explanation of her. This poor creature, the Order had captured her when she was nothing more than a child. For decades, she had rotted away inside a dungeon in total isolation. Her mind and spirit had been broken long ago. Abraxas is almost contained at this point, but Bastion's like, I can't concentrate and deliver the full spell and conclude it, So now she allowed the Order to mold her as they wish because she was captured. But Medieval Spawn's like, man, see this knife for her? I'm done with you complaining and screaming. And that knife, gets her right at her neck, right at the source of her scream. So Medieval Spawn's like, ready yourself, Richard. She is just the first wave of attacks. So now the Order comes in. They're like, destroy the Hellspawn. But Bastion's like, oh no, my spell, it has not worked, and the creature Abraxas is gone. Where did the creature go? Well, look at him right there. My. So many fresh new hosts to choose from. Which one of you shall I pick first? And that is the end of Medieval Spawn, issue number 3. Medieval Spawn's Army 8, and he unleashes a cataclysmic threat is unleashed right now. So yeah, that's what we talk about right there. Which host is he gonna pick? And that's thousands of people right there, so it's about to be a bloodbath. But what you guys think of this comic book? Comment below, let me know, and also link in description if you wish to add this comic book and or any of our other limited print Rated Comics exclusives to add to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. With all that being said, thank you again for watching. Till the next upload.